Welcome back, everybody, to another game in the Cinnamon Lost Thunder Bracket Tournament presented by Mellow Magikarp, put on by Tabletop Village. In Seattle, we got the number 9 seed Vikavolt Rayquaza versus the 25th seed Attacking Steelix. Now, for those unfamiliar with Attacking Steelix, one of the more weirder decks in the format, Attacking Steelix uses the Steelix from Celestial Storm, the one with a big ol' 190 HP, and use it to attack with. There was a Steelix deck at one point early on in this format, and kind of the formats before this, where you used the Steelix as a wall Pokemon. 190 HP with a Metal Frying Pan really prevented a lot of damage and prevented a lot of things happening. So you could wall with 190 HP all day long, and that was really just the deck. But as the format evolved a little bit, the deck didn't become good anymore because you could kind of just one-shot the Steelix over and over again, and it fell out of favor. But then it started to creep back into format a little bit with the option to actually attack with it. And that is what we see here with Attacking Steelix. It is up against a really hard round 1 matchup. This is one of those ones that you kind of, when you were going through your bracket, you looked at and you didn't circle or anything. You just kind of were like, oh, you know what? Vikaray can one-shot Attacking Steelix pretty easily, and that's what's going to happen. And we'll see what ends up occurring in this matchup, but it is a very favorable matchup for Vikavolt Rayquaza because you're able to just flood the board with energies and just kind of deal with Steelix's left and right. On the board, we got JP piloting the Attacking Steelix side first, and Owen piloting the Vikavolt Rayquaza first. They will switch. I don't think it's a 3-man rotation group this matchup. I think it's just a 2-man. We'll see what goes on. But it is kind of a strange one-sided affair. So we'll see if Vikavolt Rayquaza can avoid being upset here on the round of 32 early on. So with Vikavolt Rayquaza, for those that don't know what the strategy behind Vikavolt Rayquaza is, it's Vikavolt accelerates 2 energies from your deck, one grass and 1 lightning, puts them anywhere you want. And Rayquaza just so happens to do more damage for every lightning and grass Pokemon, or lightning and grass energy on your side of the field. So they kind of work really well together. You used to see Vikavolt paired with Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu had 2 grass and a lightning. You could discard your grass and do 180 damage. Choice Belt puts you up to that 210 damage threshold. That is so good in this format. But eventually, once Rayquaza came out, it was Bulu just wasn't as good as Rayquaza, which could go much faster. You have Stormy Winds when you bench Rayquaza. You discard the top 3 cards of your deck and you attach an energy. We didn't do that for the Rayquaza that was benched here. It is a May ability. He decided not to do it. I think Owen just straight up forgot because he benched it and then lilied right away. I'll spoiler, it ends up not overly mattering, but the whole goal of Vikavolt Rayquaza is to get a Grubbin down early and then get into your Vikavolt turn 2. It is built to try to hit that turn to Rayquaza with the Volkners and the Ultra Balls and everything, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. He's going to Volkner for the Ultra Ball, pitching the Choice Belt, which you really don't need in this format, or in this matchup, and there's the Rare Candy. He's going to get the Strong Charge up. Attach from hand means that he is guaranteed knockout here. Vikavolt's going to use Strong Charge to find a Grass and a Lightning Energy, and charge up this attack and deal 120 damage to Onix. Onix would be way different if it had 130 HP, not only for this matchup, but for the Zoroark matchup as well. Onix was used in a lot of different decks to kind of deal with Zoroark. You're only 120 HP, but for 4 colorless energies, you one-shot a Zoroark right on back. So decks like Quagnag, decks like Malamar, decks that could accelerate a bunch of energies really, really fast, played Onix to deal with Zoroark. The reason that Vikavolt doesn't is because you know, Rayquaza is usually good enough. You can kind of just race them and trade 2 prizers, and you're going to end up on top because you can one-shot the Zoroarks, and the Zoroarks can't one-shot you back. So if I had 130 HP, Zoroark would not be able to one-shot Onix back as easily. It still could, just not as easily. But the early knockout here for Rayquaza really puts the pressure on JP here to find something and get it going. Right now, he really only has the Registeel in the active. It's just another tanky, can soak up a lot of damage. It's got the exoskeleton ability, reduces damage that way. Metal Frying Pan reduces damage. It's just, you know, you are a tanky deck, then your goal is to slowly chip away at your opponent with stuff like Shrine of Punishment and really just using Steelix's Tackle over and over again. So it's really, it's not a fast deck. It just chips away at your opponent. A note on this Victini, keen eye viewers will notice that this Victini doesn't have a reverse pattern. It's a fun fact that I like to share, especially in this matchup. I had JP look at it if you saw him leaning up there. That Victini, if you look at it, is a smooth, it's smooth. It doesn't have the reverse pattern that usually is associated with the Sun and Moon Lost Thunder format, and that's because there was a print error in the Guardians Rising print run that they just kind of forgot to put the reverse pattern on there. And most of those boxes did not make it into circulation, but however, those boxes were released at the Seattle Regionals that year. So the year that Guardians Rising came out, Seattle Regionals happened, and everyone that won packs from that won these reverse Pokemon that didn't have a pattern on them. So there's not many of them out there. But since Tabletop Village is here in Seattle, and a lot of local players turned their cards into the previous owners, like, we ended up with a lot of them. And they're kind of a cool little find. So I played there in that area. I almost have, I think, a complete set of them, but this Victini is one of those. So you throw it in there to kind of be like, hey, here's a cool story. So the other reason I share that cool story is that Attacking Steelix is only doing half of its namesake. It's doing the Steelix part, granted all not that well. It is not doing the attacking portion of that name well at all. Attacking Steelix is a weird name for a deck because it's like, yeah, you're going to attack. But remember, there was a Steelix deck before this. Like I said, it was just straight Steelix, and it didn't attack. It was just Steelix. So that's why this one's not called just Steelix. It was a way to differentiate between the two. So Shrine of Punishment comes down. Start ticking away at these Rayquazas. Let's see. Oh, there's a rare candy off the top for Owen. Oh my gosh, this is about to be... you're about to see a bunch of energies hit the field now. I think he leaned over. I think I was either manning the keyboard or watching this game, and he's like, it was pretty funny. He's like, if I can take the Steelix this turn, don't I want to? Yeah, that's where him pointing at it. I was like, you're excuse me? Because the Steelix is 190 HP, and a Frying Pan is an effective HP of 220. You need 8 energy on the field. An Attach and a Strong Charge only puts you up to 6. So I was like, where are your other 2 energies coming from, my guy? And he's like, oh, I have this Ultra Ball Rare Candy Guzma in my hand. Just the absolute nuts here. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go into this Vikavolt, Rare Candy into it, Strong Charge again. And let's see, that's 7. Yeah, Strong Charge twice. He already attached from hand, so that's double Strong Charge. That's 9 energies on the field, and he's got the Guzma in his hand. This is just an embarrassment of riches. These first couple games we've seen in this tournament have been close. This one, anything but. Wow, wow, wow. It's one of those things where it's like, what do we even attach to? Like, where do you even go with this? I guess you put 3 on 1, so you have like a pivot or a secondary option, but no, this Rayquaza is just going to knock this Steelix out. And yeah, JP double counting. Yeah, that is a very knockout. It's 30 for each of those, so there's 7 of them. Sorry, there's 9 of them. It is, yeah, it is an insane knockout. So, Registro comes back up, no Steelix, no attachment. Shrine of Punishment puts you to 2. Like, at best this turn, like, the best damage output that Attacking Steelix can hit this turn is 40. And that comes from a Steelix, DCE, and a Delmise. That is the maximum damage output that Steelix can do this turn. So at best, you're going 40 on a Rayquaza, putting it up to 70 after Shrine Tick. So really not a lot of threat. Owen just needs to announce, I think it's Dragon Break, just needs to announce Rayquaza's attack every single turn, and he's got this game in the bag. 2 Vikavolt. I mean, you could run out of energies in theory, but if he just finds the Zaya Aura in order to retreat, free retreat on everything with a lightning attached, he's not too worried about being boss stalled or anything like that. But we see a smooth over from JP, kind of trying to figure out, how do I stay in this game? Looks like he's eyeballing a DCE so he can at least try to one-shot something. The Shrine damage will tick up. Rayquaza doesn't have a lot of ways to get rid of that. So there's the DCE, and the other card that he ripped was, ooh, a Lily. That was real nice. We saw him put the DCE on top. Thought that was fine enough. Could get the Lily next turn, but Lily this turn is pretty good too. He's going to put 2 Onyxes and a Steelix back in with the Rescue Stretcher, and just like a Lily for 6 here. Staying in the game enough. You know, you're down 2 prizes, but again, these 2 Rayquazas, once they get softened up by Shrine of Punishment, you can really start swinging. So yeah, Lily for 6 here, pretty good turn. And there's the Delmize too. It doesn't really play Switch, so you can't deal the 30 this turn. But once this Registeel goes down, you can slam the Delmize and start racking up the damage. Owen used all of the cards in his hand last turn to get some knockouts, but now he's just going to probably just strong charge onto this the Vikavolt here. Just so that it's just, oh my gosh. So much yellow and green. Look at all of that. There are 14 energies in the Rayquaza. Oh my gosh. And a Guzma to boot. Wow. Remember, Owen went down to 0 cards. His 2-card hand was his top deck and his prize. And one of those just happened to be a Guzma. So this game is very, very over at this point. Playing it out just to see any lines. Like, you can do some Guzma shenanigans, maybe run Owen out of energy. I think that was the conversation at this point, but I was like, my guy, Owen plays 2 energy recycler. He also plays Zeraora. Like, there is plenty of see, there's a conversation happening with someone sitting over on the couch. See JP talking to him. Like I said, I think I mentioned in the previous video, there are a lot of people watching these games as they happen. They are done in the recording booth here at Tabletop Village. But there's a lot of people around. There's windows looking in. So conversations are happening. But yeah, looks like JP might just smooth over and pass. We might see Owen's holding on to an Ultra Ball and 2 Marshadows. There's a chance that you see a Lele for boss here. Or no, but he's just gonna knock out. He's gonna take the knockout. Go to 6. I think there's argument for just taking the Steelix there. Where you Ultra Ball for Lily to boss up the Steelix. Electing not to. Let's see, 80, 90. If a heads flip on the Steelix, you'll get a knockout, right? Because it's 80 plus 40 on a flip. So you're doing 90, 100. Yeah, you're short the knockout if you get tails on the Steelix flips. But at the very least, you're dealing... you're going to deal 80 damage this turn. Now, granted, Owen can just go knockout, knockout. And Vikavolt can take anything on the bench that it wants to. So those are both 1 energy away from being knocked out. Now, granted, even if this goes down, Owen still has 9 energy on the board. So let's see. Heads. And that will be the knockouts. But Owen already has return KO on board, so there is a draw from Owen. Remember, he's holding on to Ultra Ball. I think there was a conversation at one point about, like, do you just grab the Zeraora here for free retreat? And I was like, well, do you have a Lightning Energy in your deck? Because if you don't have a Lightning Energy, then that's not the play. So the other option was, like, do you grab Rayquaza as a backup attacker? But if you do and you can't attack with it, it can get pinned in the active. And Shrine Tick can slowly go up. That's like a line there, I suppose. But nah, the Ultra Ball to thin and then just the raw Cynthia. And we were talking about this. Like, maybe you just don't do anything here. Maybe just attack. So yeah, he Ultra Balls to thin away the Marshadow and the Delmize. The other Delmize. There's 2 Delmizes. 2 different Delmizes in this matchup. There's the Grass Delmize and then the Psychic Delmize. So 6 fresh cards, and I was like, well, do you have an energy recycler? Yeah, there's double energy recycler, and that's going to be a scoop. Yep. Basically, you try to run the Vikavolt Rayquaza out of energy, but if you can't, yeah, see, there's a Rescue Stretcher as well. Owen was getting another Rayquaza and just a boatload of energy on the field. So Rayquaza doing Rayquaza things to Vikavolt by turn 3 is going to absolutely seal this matchup. We did what we could, so a lot of the matchups in this tournament were randomed. I went over the theory behind all these matchups in the initial video that we posted. If you haven't checked that out, it's got all the deck lists on it. But basically, since we split up everything into pools and randomized everything from there, you knew that you were going to get some lopsided things. You weren't going to get perfect 50-50s across the board. We could have sat down and made this a really intense tournament, but in order to be fair to all of the quote-unquote top decks and all of the bottom counter decks, everything was going to be random, so we didn't really... So, we weren't playing favorites, or we weren't setting it up so one thing could be better than the other. But that's where you're going to have some dud matchups, and this one just so happens to be one of them. Attacking Steelix does pretty well in those Zoroark variants, but stuff like Rayquaza, stuff like Blacephalon, stuff that can hit like a truck, like it just doesn't. So here's a Lily for 5, got the Oranguru going, there's another Steelix, so kind of a decent start here. You would have liked to see a Slugma down or a Ditto down. That's the only other thing you could really want this turn, but good enough to get a second Steelix, or a second Onix down and the Guru down. Keeps yourself Marshadow proof in theory, and puts 2 Steelix down. So JP going to start off here with a Mysterious Treasure. You're likely to grab another Rayquaza. And we're really just looking for a Grubbin. The first 2 turns for Vikavolt are pretty telegraphed and standard. You really just want a Grubbin turn 1 and a Vikavolt turn 2. It's really what you want, so you want to set yourself up for that. So he's grabbing a Vikavolt. That must be his hand, yeah. There's no way that's his discard pile. But he does an Ultra Ball, so he could get rid of the energy so that your Stormy Winds is guaranteed to hit. But instead, he's going to Ultra Ball away. We actually took back the Mysterious Treasure. That's what it looked like. He's got the Mysterious Treasure in hand. Yeah, okay. So that's what that was. So Mysterious Treasure is going to get rid of the Lightning. Oh, the Lightning is going to be attached. I think he's deciding whether or not to attach it, and then maybe just the Cynthia in his hand. Yeah. So he's not valuing the energy in the discard pile. He's valuing the energy attachment, which objectively is probably correct, because a second Vikavolt isn't as important, or second Rayquaza isn't as important. You really just want that attachment turn 1 so that your strong charge is guaranteed to hit. Oh, a double Grubbin. That's what you'll love to see. It avoids any sort of like Guzma kill Grubbin shenanigans. So let's see what Owen gets into. There's 2 Grubbin on the bench. There is a DCE. He's hitting all the things he needs to hit. Rescue Stretcher Energy. That ain't going to do it. And we might just be a Lily for 2 or a Cynthia for 6. Okay. So a Steelix is going to be huge here. Gains a lot of tempo. I suppose another reason you don't get the second Rayquaza as well is because of Shrine of Punishment in play. You don't want to save as much damage as possible. That second Rayquaza really isn't doing anything for you. And, oh no, there's no Steelix in that hand. There's a Nest Ball, and, oh, I see an Energy, a Nest Ball, a Lily. Oh, there is no Steelix, and no way to get down to Instruct for Oranguru either. Oh my gosh, I see a Lily, a Guzma, a Shrine, and an Energy. Oh. Absolutely no way to even attack this turn. No way to retreat, even though you wouldn't want to. There's no way to get your Onix out of the active. So that energy that you committed before shuffle just isn't there. That is get the Victini for the extra flip. And it's going to be a pass back over to JP. There's no other thing. So the Shrine Tick comes up. Do we see the coveted turn 2 Vikavolt? There's a Volkner in the hand. Usually Volkner will signal that you have it. You just need an Ultra Ball or a Rare Candy as the other piece, and Volkner will get you there. And, yeah, JP shuffling one side, he's going back in. He just has the Vikavolt in hand. And there's going to be a strong charge. We already know he grabbed Lightning Energy from the Volkner. So strong charges, both of those on. And the Lightning likely to come down onto the Vikavolt, and we're going to see a knockout. Getting all the energy off the board. Now, if Steelix had gotten the Evolve there, we would have been in business. Steelix could have evolved and actually had been in this game. Maybe wipe the energy off the board with a flip and a Delmise, but now we're back in the original situation. So, smoothing over. Yep, you saw him flash the Steelix. So he flashes the Steelix there. Pushes that on. Lily for 6, grabbing the Steelix. Oh, Brian gets Steelix anyway. Rescue Stretcher is nice here because the Rescue Stretcher is going to grab the Onix out of the discard pile. So he's going to have a backup Steelix if he needs it. And you got to assume that the Steelix on the bench is safe. And Shrine damage ticking up. There's the Nest Ball off the top, likely to grab another Rayquaza. Nothing else you really need here with Nest Ball. The Delmise, the Grass Delmise isn't really useful in this matchup. You know, you heal yourself, but you're like, you know, 3-shotting. So he's going to go grab the Zeraora, it looks like. So you have free retreat and a pivot on everything. Oh, nope, just another Rayquaza. Yeah, you just want that backup attacker. What else is in his hand here? We are going to see, you know, at the very least, you're going to see a Strong Charge, which is coming in right now. And there's probably at least an attach in that hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if he gets an attachment from hand, he doesn't have Boss Knockout or Guzma Knockout. But you're fine with taking this Victini. You're also fine Guzma-ing something else here. I think you'd be okay Guzma-ing. Yeah, he's got the Guzma in hand. So, like, you're fine taking the Macargo or the Onix. Yeah. Onix is going to be the choice because you know that it's going to be really hard to get one shot back. And you're fine with just, yeah, you got to push the Victini here in hopes they get Boss. There's an Energy. He is an unplayable card. So an attachment to the Guzma, to the Steelix on the bench. And the thing about it is, it's like Guzma's just not even gonna. Like, Guzma's not good here. Like, you have a Guzma, but you're not you're not hitting anything, and you're gonna get one shot back. You're putting your Steelix in harm's way by putting it in the active with no backup Onix. So we're gonna see a smooth over. It looks like he's gonna eyeball a Cynthia for next turn. He can't discard his hand down in order to instruct. So this Cynthia is a next turn Cynthia. You know your Victini is going to get KO'd. You need an Onix to back up attack. Yeah, Guzma puts your Steelix in harm's way, so yeah, he's going to Guzma into the Guru. Values the Victini flip more. Grab the Grubbin and Shrine tick up. So do you see a Guzma back out? Yeah, you never want to put the Steelix back into harm's way. Oh, and valuing the Victini more than the Oranguru, which at this point, you know, you just need knockouts. So the coin flip is probably better than the draw power of Oranguru. JP doesn't really need to, like, Marshadow and go insane, you know. So the Strong Charge is, yep, just going to go on to the Grubbin. It's got 2 retreat, so you can get it out of the active pretty easily. You don't really need the Zeraora yet. The Zeraora just becomes a 2-prize liability later on in the game. You don't really worry about getting boss stalled because, again, you have all this energy on the field. And it's going to be the straight-up retreat and the Rayquaza knockout. Here comes Steelix. We know the Cynthia is sitting on the top of the deck. Just checking Shrine math here. I think we ticked him. We should have. I guess we missed it. Because we said the other one. Yeah, okay, we must have missed it. Because the other one, the Rayquaza had to be on even numbers. Because the Shrine never got bounced. So we missed one somewhere because the Rayquaza had to be on even numbers. And the other one had to be on odd numbers because it got dropped on the other turn of Shrine of Punishment. So, must have missed it there. I missed it in commentating. We missed it during the game too, I suppose. But, regardless, there's the energy. And there's an Ultra Ball. We're going to start with the Acrobike Guzma Cynthia. Because the Ultra Ball will get you the backup Onix that you kind of need here. And the energy gets you at least the attack. So he's going to Ultra Ball away, double Shrine of Punishment. Rayquaza, not known for playing too many Counter Stadium. You could play Blower, but Rayquaza was like, no, I'm just going to go fast enough that I don't really care about Shrine of Punishment. That's like the argument here. I don't think Steelix is out of it yet. You could, if you hit some correct numbers here, you can Shrine Tick some stuff. That is a smooth over. I did not see what a smooth over target was, but oh, he's got Boss DCE in hand, so woof. If you had kept the Oranguru, you could have drawn a card this turn. You could have smooth over and drawn a card, but I don't think you really need this turn. So we're going to see, ooh, a head. So that is 80 plus 40, 120 plus Shrine Tick puts you up to 160. The one on the bench goes to 110. You could, in theory, take a double knockout somehow, some way. You have Boss DCE in your hand, so if you put Steelix on the top, I didn't see what he put on top, but you can boss with the Onyx. So you push Victini, DCE Guzma, boss the bench Rayquaza, and hit it for 30, putting it to 150. You can get some Shrine Tick knockouts, but I don't know how you take your last two prizes. You can take both these Rayquazas at with that line fairly easily. In fact, you can take both Rayquazas if you put a Steelix on the top, boss DCE. But where do you go from there? Because your Onyx gets return KO, your Steelix gets return KO'd, right? Your active Steelix this turn's getting knocked out. Next turn, even with the Steelix DCE Guzma play to hit the bench one, you draw two prizes, sure, but you just don't have a backup Onyx. And then JP just announces Dragon Break for knockout. So there's really no point to the Guzma being a play. So I suppose the Aggro Bike gripping the Guzma instead of the Cynthia, I don't know if it's necessarily questionable, but the thing is the active one's dying to Shrine Tick. So maybe you're boss and you sack the Macargo. So here's a smooth over. We'll see what he's going to draw. He has a Lily. So it's looking like he's going to grab this. You could boss here, right? Boss a Grubbin and let the Rayquaza Shrine Tick up. But you just, what do you do for next turn? Yeah, so that's what he's going to do here. He's going to boss the Grubbin. And the Steelix is the active. You need some Shrine Ticks to really deal a lot of damage. Like I said, this is your line of play, because once you take that Onyx on the bench, that's like game. That's straight up game. So that's why you can't boss hit with the Steelix. You have to spend an extra turn. But there's a boss in JP's hand, and I think at this point off to the side I was yelling at him, just take the Onyx. You just boss the Onyx and win the game here, because there's no return KO. So the game is on board. Game is easily on board here. If you just boss the Onyx, it is double Gs. You don't have to worry about stall tactics because you have this. You have the Energy Recycler. No worries. This Rayquaza is not dying to Shrine Ticks. It is game over. I guess you could do this for good measure here. He's like, oh man, I should have Stormy Winds before I did this, but you're gonna hit it either way. And I was just telling him, no, you're gonna hit it anyway. It's fine. Yeah, you do it. Why not? Yeah, see, look at that. See, easy mode. Man, you can still strong charge to it, but this, the Guzma in the hand, Guzma in the Onyx is a double G's here. You have no way to get return KO'd. You have to take one more prize. This game is absolutely over. Rayquaza is going to move on. It's all over but the shouting, as they say. So once this Guzma hits the field, I think we're going to see Owen concede the game. Vikavolt Rayquaza in an absolute 2-0 stomp. We'll be moving on. There's the Guzma on the Onyx. There's the knockout, and there's the scoop. So good job, everybody. Vikavolt Rayquaza moving on. We will see you guys tomorrow for another game.